Finn's purpose is to lead a passionate, values-based life, free of societal pressures, and through his positive actions, influence and inspire others to do the same. Can we welcome Finn Kelly? Your business, Wealth Enhancers, is built around helping this generation to get financially free. Why did you target that niche, and how have you gone about engaging those Gen Y as customers?
Certainly. So we started probably a little bit too early when you started, about 5-6 years ago, and it was because out of a desire to help ourselves and our friends. We used to have a private wealth management company, traditionally built to look after the wealthy baby boomers, and we were like, this doesn't really make sense. Why are we making more money for someone who already has money? What about the generation below? And why we started, a big reason was the demographics. We could look at it and we're like, in a weird way, we're the new baby boomer generation. Like, we can grow with this generation, and if we can help them become financially free doesn't mean wealthy or rich or anything like that. It's just they're free of the dependency on money. Imagine what else they can start doing. They can start like choosing that they want to go work for that not-for-profit, that they can go take some time off to travel. They can start their own business. So we see it as a very philanthropic activity that we're doing. And that's something which we're passionate about as well, is like this concept of for-profit or not-for-profit. Like, why does that have to be the case? Like, why can't it be just for purpose? Why can't every business be helping the world? And we're a very proud, passionate B Corp. We're the 55th B Corp in Australia, and it's really great to see how when I first came up with that for the business, no one really bought in. Now, you talk about recruitment, that is one of our #1 recruitment things. Like, people want to work with us because we're a B Corp.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about Gen Z or millennials, both the younger generations?
So I actually think the biggest misconception is that we're young. Like, we're not young anymore. If you look at Gen Y and millennials, it's 1980 to 1995, they vary, but like, that's 37 years old. Like, we're having kids, we're actually skipping Gen X, like we're becoming CEOs of corporate, like ASX companies, global companies. We're not young, and we've seen a lot. We've seen a GFC, we've seen political turmoil, and we're actually in a position where we now have a lot of time in the actual professional world, and we're able to make smart decisions. So don't think we're young anymore, and you cannot ignore our generation anymore. Like, we are the largest generation now. We're actually overtaken baby boomers, and it's only going to increase because of the immigration that's coming in. We're now spending over 50% of discretionary spending. So we're actually really a big player in this country now, in the world. So you can't ignore us.
I'm really interested for your take, as someone who employs an enormous number of Gen Y and now Gen Z. What's your observations about this generation and how you engage them? What do you understand about them?
This generation is one that questions everything, but it's not out of a negative question. It's like, how can we do better? How can we actually be living a life driven by our values and be aligned in a common purpose? We're not on this mission where we're just trying to build wealth for the sake of it, or we're trying to climb the corporate ladder. We're going, can we be part of something which is actually really great? I'm seeing it in Wealth Enhancers a lot at the moment. People reaching a certain level in the corporate career because they thought that was the right thing to do, and then they're like, this doesn't seem really right to me. My parents are a bit disgruntled about where they've got to finishing their career. Maybe I need to make some changes earlier on. So they're starting to work out what are their values, what is their purpose, and what are the organisations that actually align with these. And they're making the tough decisions, and they're leaving, even if it means big pay cuts, new education, change of like living locations. They're willing to do it. So eternally optimistic. I actually think this generation is going to be the connector between the generations. So we've got the baby boomers who have been brilliant. They've built up a lot of wealth. They've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. And we've got the Gen Zs. We're very positive of Gen Zs. We think they've got so much ability to just live a life with technology, and they're questioning things in a different way that we are. So I believe we're going to be the connectors, and we're actually going to be the leaders of the modern day world. When you think about what's happening right now, who are the biggest companies in the world and who are they run by? We've got Facebook run by Zuckerberg. We've got Google run by some young guys as well. We're having so much disruption by these young people, and they're actually determining where the world's going. So very positive.
What do you think are the traits of this generation of leaders?
So I believe it's about a coaching and collaborative environment. I actually used to be an army officer, the most dictatorial type of leadership you could have, and I used to think, oh, this is how you've got to lead. You've got to be very strong, and you've got to have your opinions, and you've got to be able to just basically say, this is my way or it's the only way. That doesn't work in the real world. If I did some of the things to my team that I used to do in the army, they would just laugh at me and just pretty much give me the finger and get out of here. They would move. So now it's about actually collaborating with them, coaching them to work out how you can help them reach their goals rather than how they can reach your goals. Having a very strong purpose for the business and then being the visionary of that purpose. So bringing that alive at any chance you can. I call myself sort of like the chief cheerleader. I'm out there just cheerleading the vision all the time and going, this is how you can fit into it and how you can actually live a great life in accordance with our business as well. And I think finally with the leadership style is they need to know that you're open to hearing their opinions, but they also want a decision at certain points. That's a big thing. Everyone thinks that Gen Y and Millennials are very technology focused, they can do it all themselves. They want their hand held more than any other generation. They really do. So at a certain point, you coach them and guide them, but when it comes to it, you need to still make a decision.
You've been jet setting all around the world, living a remote and flexible lifestyle. And that's a really interesting feature for me about how differently these younger generations want to work. They want to be able to work from anywhere. They want that flexibility around when their work's done. Talk to us about, and you're probably seeing this through your recruitment company, how they're actually changing the structure of work.
It's a fascinating experience. One of the common questions I get all the time, because I'm seen traveling around the world, it's like, so do you actually lead in your company? Do you do anything? I work more than I probably used to in the office, because I'm actually passionate about working rather than just showing up and doing it for the sake of it. So these days with technology, really what job can't you do behind a computer? Like everyone who's at work is pretty much behind a computer. So why are we geographically dependent? Why can't we be geographically independent? So we're seeing flexibility in that manner. We're seeing a lot of outcome-led results. So rather than just showing up and saying, all right, here's my 9-to-5 job, we don't care about that. Like, I don't care if my team members surf half the morning, go catch up with some friends, and they work for 2 hours really efficiently. If they actually get the work done, isn't that what we care about? So outcome-led leadership is really important. And they want to be able to know that they can come in and out depending on their desires and their path in their life. So flexibility is a very important one. So finding models where it's almost like a bridge between full-time employment and contractor models where you can actually connect the two, where they've got choice of how much they want to work and how much they want to contribute.
So what's your take on feedback and performance reviews?
So we use a combination of technology and regular face-to-face or video, as we do it, feedback. So the technology side of things is basically making sure that everything from your number one goal in the business, the priorities, links down to how the individual employee works, and it all flows, and they can see where their contribution is contributing to the company. So that's one way, and it's just direct scorecards. They actually respond well to numbers, but it's got to be timely numbers. They don't want to have the numbers 6 months down the track. They want to know on the day. And then in the feedback is the exact same manner. Like, we don't do reviews or performance reviews. We have check-ins, constant check-ins. And if you see something you can provide feedback on, they want it that day, but they want it in a manner where it's like, okay, give them a coaching format to provide the feedback, let them have a time to think about it and come back with their solution.
I feel like a lot of leaders feel they're very demanding. This isn't a generation who conform with the way that legacy businesses and traditional businesses have been structured. Are they demanding, or is it just really different? And do we have to get on board with the way that they want to work?
I think they're really different, and they're curious, and they want to find ways to improve your business. I just don't see why you wouldn't want that as a leader. Like, isn't that what we want? So I don't see my role as the person who's like stepping up the bar and saying this is what needs to be done. I'm trying to like just feed them all little bits of information, get them online with a common vision, and then they can create the future of the business. We're going to see that, like, the smartest people in the world are the Gen Zs now, and you potentially may be a billionaire and have someone who's a 14-year-old kid who's actually the most important person in your business. So you've got to be thinking about, all right, what's the communication method that you can communicate them in a way that's going to get the best outcome from them, and don't see them as a problem.
Well, with that, can we please thank Kelly?